Okay. Now, lovely Miss Ramos, my shiro. This is my shiro.
Shebra. Oh.
Oh, I like that.
Again,
My
you're not
shiro. Do the pageant wave. Okay. What client type would you try to assist with 100% financing program? You know what I mean? Because it takes, you know, you want to put in the effort. What kind of client would you say you would like to work with a 100% program?
A lot of times people think, okay, 100% financing is extremely easy and so forth. But you know, you have to have a certain credit score. Jennifer,
That's
correct
right.
me if I'm wrong.
That's right.
Your credit score has to be what, a 720 or better?
It's 680 usually now.
680?
They've gone
Okay,
down a
okay,
little
it's
bit.
gone down a bit. So 680. So if you're a first-time home buyer, let's start with first-time home buyers. You may want to hang on to your liquid cash, your capital,
Right.
in order to maybe be prepared for future home maintenance,
Incidentals.
emergencies that may come up, et cetera, taxes, until you acclimate into your new home and the payments and adjusting if you've never owned a home before. This is important. The downfall on that is sometimes your payment's higher, obviously, because you haven't put money in.
That's right.
If you don't plan or something happens, you have to move out quickly, your equity in the home may be affected.
Oh, wow.
Okay,
Yeah.
so you can be prepared that if that does happen, you may not make a profit if you have to turn around and sell the home. You may break even, if you're lucky, or make a little bit. Okay, so just to be aware of that. I say for investors that this is an excellent for them to do, because as an investor, you want to put in as little money as you can
That's right.
in a property
Right.
in order to begin seeing your profits. So you're leveraging with your loan.
Right.
So this is very smart for investors, and they like doing this when they can.
Okay. Now, see, one of the things that that a lot of people don't know, and Jennifer can speak to this as well, 100% financing means for the purchase of the house. It doesn't pay for anything else.
Correct.
You still got to pay for your appraisals and your surveys and your inspections
Right.
and
Closing
setting up
costs.
escrows and closing costs unless you get some kind of benefit back.
Right.
Right.
So 100% financing, that is strictly for the purchase of the
Home. Yes, you still are going to have closing costs. You still have upfront costs like the appraisal, your inspection, stuff like that. So, you know, people think 100% financing, I'm coming with no money. That is not the case. It's still small investment is required.
What is the current average for an appraisal right now?
Right now, I've seen it from $450 to about $750, depending on the value of the home.
So $450 to $750. Home inspection, depending on the square
525,
footage. Yeah.
525.
Is on the average, right? About $525. It could be higher depending on how
The square
in-depth
footage
you
on the
wanna go.
house, yeah.
Exactly.
So you have those expenses out of pocket. That's $1,000 right there on, just rounded up,
You have your insurance.
right? So sometimes you have to have reserves,
Correct.
and that's part of your closing cost.
Right.
So things begin to add up very quickly, and the 100% financing does offset that
Right.
for
Right.
people. It gives you a little bit of, I guess, feeling like, hey, I can still keep a little money in the bank for emergencies, like Jennifer stated earlier. So there's just a lot that goes into home buying, and education is key. And thank y'all for tuning in, because this will help open the eyes of people who are thinking about investing, being investors, thinking about buying, first-time home buyers, and things you need to consider.
And and don't forget, like, subscribe, share, and hit the button. But also with Chris, how about this? When renovating or fixing flips, right? It's not true 100%, but it's based upon as improved value when you buy a house. So how would that look in 100% financing to invest in a fix and flip?
So they're going to go through the house and appraise it based on, and usually you have to have a contractor's proposal,
Right.
and showing line by line of what you're going to be doing to the property and what they're actually, showing how much they're going to pay. And then the appraisal will take that, look at the current condition of the home, and give us an after repair value, so we can see, like, okay, yes, you're going to do all of these things, and once this is done, this is what the value of the
This will
home.
be the new value of it.
And
Yeah.
then that could actually cover the cost.
Correct. This is what you happen in a, for example, in a rehab loan, right? You have the purchase of the property, and then you have a set amount to draw against that that rehab, right?
Right.
So of course you have to always think about, if I'm buying a property, number one, I have to make sure there's enough equity
Right.
to cover that expense,
Right.
right? So the lender will lend you based on the after repair value.
Okay.
So that means that sometimes you can actually get 100% financing.
Okay.
It's just how you work the numbers out. And
Okay.
you know, dealing with experienced realtors, that definitely will help because we can guide you through that process. But I have clients come and rehab a property and don't have to put basically nothing down.
Okay. See, and then me, I wouldn't want to put nothing down and not work on it either.
That's why was at One Innovative Homes. We have great contractors already
you go.
on hand.
There you go. 'Cause I just want to show up for the check. That's all I'm interested in. Check. So,
We know.
He's been very
but you
clear.
have this dynamic when it comes to renovating and purchasing in both residential and commercial. And what we have around the table is that experience to help guide the client
Yes.
through this process. Like you have One Innovative, you have Platinum Properties, you have Mortgaging, you have Osborne Advisors, you have Market Title, you have all of these things that are incorporated in making this a seamless transaction. So when it comes to explaining this to the novice, the newbie, what role do you take, Chris?
I think it's more of, I take a more educational approach.
Okay.
You know, if it's an investor, especially, you know, that we don't, so we take the emotion out of it. We're looking strictly at numbers. We
Right.
actually, you know, plug the numbers into, you know, programs that we have already built that actually show them like, this is what we're expecting to do. This is what we actually expect for the after repair value to be. And then what, based on that, you know, we can actually see like, you know, this is what you should be netting, as long as if you stay on budget.
Now, Dina, I know investors can be beyond difficult. I didn't use the words I wanted to use. But they can be beyond difficult. How do you get them to move their ego out of the space necessary though they can make an informed decision and a profitable decision?
You know, ego aside, most investors are looking at the bottom line.
Right.
Okay, so and I'll give Chris 100% credit for this. So we come in with the verbal stuff and kind of just talking. Sometimes people don't listen because you said like the ego or whatever comes into place that, you know, or they just don't understand what you're trying to say. We come back with the numbers. Chris has a spreadsheet thrown
With the
out in front
visual.
of them and what to expect and so forth. So if one way isn't getting through, definitely the other will. And, you know, at the end of the day, we want people to make good decisions. And when people know that you're on their side, and they will bend and say, you know what, you're right. This makes sense to me.
And I think that's what's common with, you know, most of our clients, and the reason why they come back to us is because they know that we're going to be honest with them.
Yes.
We're not just out to make a dollar today. We want that long-term relationship, so they know that, you know, we're really looking in their best interest and trying to give them the facts
Right.
so they can make an informed decision.
There you go. And you have to remember, when you have an experience or you have experienced representation, this is more valuable to you than saving a dollar.
Yes.
And most people don't understand that.